Hi, I am Allie Camilletti, and you are listening to Snack Leadership. I will be talking about everything leadership, broken down into bite-sized pieces. You will hear what different leadership skills look like in organizations and how they can rise teams up or take them down. I help leaders build resilience and improve performance by bringing awareness to opportunity behaviors in my business. Spark your mindset. I provide leadership and sales coaching, as well as team building and guest speaking. My hope is for you to feel inspiration and to create a spark in your mindset. Hi, everyone. Today we are talking about heart leadership. Heart leadership is the skill of connecting to a deeper part of ourself that provides emotional data for insights, inspiration, and decision making. It is the doorway to our feelings and to our energy field. By shifting our consciousness into our heart, we can access a vast field of information, improve our ability to read situations, connect to others in a deeper way, improve dialogue, motivation, and empowerment. Sandra Pinnington is a speaker, certified executive and team coach, and founder of the Women's Leaders Association. Her expertise is in bringing the heart back into the workplace and inspiring leaders to find their courage, passion, and calling, and inspire others to do the same. Sandra is an avid fan of personal and spiritual development. She has spent over 20 years working with some of the best people in their field, in the UK and in the US. She has overcome many setbacks in life, healed a lot of past traumas, and is now living her best and most fulfilling life. She was introduced to me by one of my closest friends. Once I met Sandra, I knew I had to interview her on the topic of heart leadership. Sandra, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, absolute pleasure. I'm very excited. Absolutely. I love what you do. I was having a check out of all the podcasts you've got. It's brilliant. Brilliant what you're giving people in the world. So thank you for letting me share a little bit of that with my own perspective. It's a joy to be here.
Thank you. All right, let's start off. What is something you've learned about yourself recently?
Well, I had a funny one actually, and I will get serious, but I'm a absolutely crap baker.
I'm with you.
A bit of a following on Facebook because I share the photo of what it should look like and then what I produce. So that's what I've learned is I can't bake, but I give it a great go. But I guess on a serious note, what have I learned? My whole life, I think, has been an evolution of learning and developing. I think we shifting the layers all the time. And the more I've sort of embraced this whole what is going on around and out there and in here, the more I've had to let go. And it's not easy sometimes identifying the way we're conditioned and so on, and finding that through. And something you asked about recently, something quite profound happened to me actually. And I've always felt that I've been a very caring person. If I'll let you into a secret, when I was really little, I always wanted to be an air hostess. I'm not even sure that's what they're called now, but I love the idea of just serving people when they're going on holiday. I just thought they'd be in a happy place and I can make them happy and I'll get to see the world. And there's this whole sense in me of wanting to look after people, and I think I do care deeply. But an incident happened to me where I realized that I wasn't as compassionate as I thought I could be, should be, and needed to be. And I think there's a real difference between caring for someone and then being really compassionate to where they are, stepping into their heart space and seeing the world through their perspective and releasing judgment. It's very easy to judge when we don't see that in somebody else, isn't it? And needing that sense of, I certainly jumped to conclusions and I made assumptions about because this thing that happened triggered me. My instinct was to say, blame, judge, criticize. It's obviously them, not me. And I realised that as you kind of uncover, have discussions, you go, oh, hadn't looked at it that way, and it really struck inside of me that there's a real depth to compassion that I've been exploring recently, and I'll share something else. Actually, I've been Reiki trained over the last 18 months, and on the first Reiki place I went to, there was an elderly man, bearded, unwashed, with a very intelligent man, but has struggled to speak. Didn't look after his own personal hygiene, but the lady who ran the program had obviously brought him in on some sort of scholarship. And he would interrupt, and everything about him was jarring with me. And I was kind of thinking, this doesn't feel right. Anyway, I nipped to the ladies, and I came back in the room, and we'd been paired up to do Reiki on each other, and guess who I was paired up with? And honestly, my initial reaction was, oh no, oh no, oh no. And I stopped myself in the moment, and I breathed, and I thought, this is a human being, Sandra. He has a beating heart. He was born into this world, and I bet he has been judged all his life. Now go and give him a wonderful experience. And do you know what? I walked over to him with a completely different mindset. I've actually gone all tingly now. And I put my hands on him, and I almost cried because I could feel his pain of what he must have been through in his life. And that was the kind of opening for me as in terms of what compassion truly is. It's completely getting out of your own way and being there for someone else. That's gonna make me a bit emotional, huh? Yeah, that
It's
was
true.
yeah, that's what
It's
I've learned.
true. And I love that story of we are so quick to go into judgment as humans. It's just part of how we're wired.
Yeah,
It's kind of like the way I do the questions. I ask about positive before negative because I know we're so quick to go to the negative before the positive.
yeah, yeah. We are completely. We yeah, we do. We're always. It's an instinct in us, isn't it? That is to kind of we've had to condition ourselves because we've been separated in so many ways, and we've had so many kind of things happen to us that we're quick to see what might be wrong in something rather than looking at actually what might it be like if this was right. Yeah, because we've been hurt and we've lost trust, etc., etc., and it builds that side of us to I call it over indexing, and it's all about how do we balance that back again, which is the work I love to do. That's where the heart thing comes in, because we
Yeah,
so often detach ourselves from our body and we just sit in our head, and we spend so much time thinking and analyzing, critiquing, and all of that, and actually the richness is in our heart.
absolutely. Yeah, that's part of the mantra I've been working on this week has been this unconditional love. And what does that encompass,
Yeah,
right? In everything I do and everybody I come across.
yeah. I couldn't agree more. I remember a wonderful mentor friend of mine when got introduced to him 20 odd years ago, and he said his role in the planet is to bring unconditional love to whoever. And I'm like, really? Are you kidding? I was like, oh God, I had so much to learn. It's a lovely concept, but when you break that down, it really requires you to show up as a very different person, doesn't it? To only see love wherever you are. It's a huge ask, but extraordinarily rewarding when you do, like I did that time. It reveals itself in beautiful ways, I think, when we do that.
And that constant mindfulness with anything we do, right? When we're trying to make a change is really be mindful. So, share with us, when did you first embrace this concept of heart leadership?
It's a really good question, actually, because I don't know whether there was a light bulb moment. I think the key word in the question is around embrace, embody. When did I embodying it has been a gradual process for me to embody that, and I was kind of. And there's a difference. There's first of all, as ever, there's the awareness of what does it mean to. what does heart leadership even mean, and what does it mean to be in your heart, and making sense. And I certainly had like to make sense of something. That's not embodying it. Embodying it is being with your feelings, and being there and exploring and understanding and knowing when you're triggered, and working with people who can help you do that. But I'd probably say about 4 years ago, when I had I wouldn't necessarily, I did call it a spiritual awakening, but I'm not sure it's quite that dramatic. It was because there certainly was an instance where something happened, but it was more an emergence, and I'm still emerging spiritually on my pathway. And I think there's something in that, the heart stuff, because I started to feel through that experience to a depth I'd not experienced before. And I could start to sense energies within me that I didn't know were there. And even now, that was 4 years ago, I'm still exploring that, and it's still coming to me. But there was something in that moment where I was tuning into myself in a whole other way. I'd struggled with meditating for years. I don't know if you're a meditator, but I tried to
No.
meditate.
I have to run. I had a therapist that tried to teach me how to meditate, and he's like, "How'd it go, Allie?" And I'm like, "I'm anxious. That made me nuts." And he's like, "Okay, running might be your meditation," which I hear is the thing. So I embrace it.
Yeah, no, completely right. And I was years. I thought people were a bit weird with this bloody meditation. I thought you had to be something special, to be able to do it. But over the time, I've been on and off, on and off, and then eventually, it's enabled me to open up this whole other side of me that I just wasn't aware, and not just of me, but of everything I now see and where I come into contact with. And I think that practice again has enabled me to really be there. And I notice it, Ali. You talk about embodying it, and I hope I'm embodying it a lot of the time. But I know if I get too busy, if there's too much at work, I'm suddenly in here. I was at an event a couple of months ago. I was around a board table, and it was so intense. I left the room, and it was in London. I walked along the street, and I got a migraine. I had a migraine for several years, and I thought, wow. And I thought, oh, I know why. I've been in my head. I've been thinking and analysing, and I could feel the tension building here. I'd forgotten to drop into my body and be connected to my emotions and what I was feeling. And that's again, I was really grateful of the insight, but it was frustrating that I'd flipped back again. So embodiment isn't the new me. It's a large part of me, but it isn't there all the time. So yeah.
I love this. I love this so much. It is a journey. It is not something that you just say, "Oh, I'm doing this today." Just as we talk about my new mantra, I'm like in my head already thinking about what's that going to look like, and
Yeah,
how is that going to come across in everything I do.
yeah,
And
yeah,
it
yeah.
is just, it's a constant journey.
It is a
So,
constant journey. Yeah, absolutely. That's what the human is, though, isn't it? That's what we are
yeah.
here. We are here on a journey. Yeah, completely, and it never ends. It's exciting.
So, what have you experienced with a leader who has really embraced this, and what did it look like in their organization when they really were all about the heart leadership?
It's a great question, and in my honest answer, there aren't that many leaders I've come across that truly embrace it. in
Yeah.
in the corporate world in which I'm in. It is a very masculine world, the corporate world, and that's not a bad thing, because that's enabled organizations to be so successful. So it's a balance, really, and I often talk about masculine and feminine energy, and I'm just bringing that to the fore. But I am mindful of one particular individual who I was coaching a number of years ago, and she was the CEO of an organization, and was she had quite a nice balance, actually, but she was so embodied in her doing that there was a lot
Yeah.
of doing going on around her, and it was kind of task tick, da, da, da. And the work that I did with her over a period of time was to help her just be more in herself and be more in her authentic spirit, and tapping into what she was great at, and allowing and not having to tick 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 all the time. And it shifted the culture, because rather than everybody being so driven by the tasks, if you like, that's a bit simple, but there was this sense of community starting, and a sense of creation started, and this amazingness that people wanted to be a part of that organization and feel it, because it's just got a different vibrance to it. It's got a different frequency to it that people want to be connected with. So it's a wonderful place, and especially what she also did was to open up some of the vulnerability.
Oh,
In the
yes.
corporate world, it's all, we don't ask for help, do we? You just got to get on with it.
Mhm.
It's weak if you ask for help. It's weak if you cry. For God's sake, you put your girl pants on and get on with it. But I think when leaders can be quite vulnerable, when they can be open and share, I don't know, or I'm unsure, or I'm feeling this. Not all the time, but by bringing that in, it can be so powerful as a tool to engage and influence people. It can't be manipulative, though. It's not that. It's a truth. It's a kind of, I don't actually have the answers, or I'm really worried about what's going on here, and just pausing and allowing people to go, oh, okay, we can help, or what do you need? And it's a subtlety, and it's, as I say, it's got just a lovely lightness in a way about it that is really, really compelling.
It's so true. And as you're talking about this, I'm just kind of thinking about, in a sense, we do sometimes fake it until we make it a little bit with
Yeah.
this, right? But if your goal is not to really get to that place of embodiment and just fake it won't have the same effect.
No, not at
People
all.
see right through it. They
Yeah.
feel right through it. And
Yeah.
if anything, I think it's worse because you're talking the talk, but you're not walking the walk.
Completely right. And if you're new to it, then you just try it in a safe environment. Try it with,
Yeah.
I don't know, your partner, or probably not your kids, because they just go, no, that ain't working. But or friends, or or a trusted colleague at work, and you'll be surprised often at people's reaction to it. Because to your point, if it's got to come from your heart. It can't be a
Yeah.
thought approach. And that's not easy to do. And it's the classic, ask somebody how they're feeling, and, well, how are you feeling about so and so, that decision? Well, I think blah blah blah. No, I didn't ask you what you were thinking. I asked you what you think. Well, what do you mean? What are you feeling? I don't know what you mean. That's the problem we've got. What, getting people to access that emotional language around what they're feeling, and therefore that brings a richness and a new dimension. This is where all the data sits. Well, I can tell I've got this weird feeling in my stomach. Well, tell me what that is. Well, it feels like I'm gripped. Great. Let's unpick gripping, shall we? Or my heart's racing. Great. That's all the stuff that's huge. Look at the size of your head compared to the rest of your body. There's so much going on here. By accessing this, and it will talk to you and help you and share with you, and much richer decisions will be made if we can access what the collective emotion is, as well as the individual emotion.
Well, and you're bringing up the point of the feelings in the sense of, I don't know about your generation or where you grew up or how you grew up, but I know for me, feelings weren't embraced. That was something we didn't show. We hid them. And I always think of the expression, you want something to cry about, I'll give you something to cry about, right?
I remember that.
Right? And so here we are in this different world where we are like, no, we want to feel. It's all about feeling.
Yeah.
And the heart is a huge piece of this. So sometimes we're introducing concepts that people are like, ugh, what are you talking about?
There's a lovely model that I shared. It was given to me. It was not my model, but it uses the word when we're led by fear and when we're led by love. We don't really talk about love in organizations, do we? And it's kind of like, oh, we're talking about love here. But the fear base is controlled and micromanaged, and, safety and control, yeah, those kind of things. Whereas love is about exploration and growth and expansion and connection. And it's got a whole other way about it. And it's just helping people go, oh, okay, that's safe over there, isn't it? Yeah, it might be safe, but the impact is far worse than the unsafe area, which is far richer, and you will expand at an exponential rate if you tap into that place.
And
So
you just described what it looks like in organizations when there isn't heart based leadership, really. One of the books that I listened to years ago that really defined one of my values of love is Don Miguel Ruiz's The Mastery of Love. And
not read
he
that one.
talks about that. The and I speak to that like actions out of fear or out of love and how we can flip that all the time.
Yeah,
All the time. Because I'm
completely.
a big advocate of let's flip it on how we're looking at that. And how
Yes.
can we look at that in a different way?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I've got a lovely colleague in my team, and she'll often say, let's truly put ourselves in the shoes of, X and Y.
Yes.
And she'll remind me sometimes because it's easy to get into, look, I'm busy. Let's just move on. Blah, 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 blah. And that's when, yeah, okay, you're right.
All right, we could talk forever about this stuff. Okay, so let's shift a little bit and share with me, have you had a mentor to guide you on this path?
Yes, I've had, I mean, right now I'm embarrassed to say, but oh gosh, I'm on so many, I am a junkie when it comes to personal development. I really am. I'm on, so I'm working with Jack Canfield, who you'll know, I think is amazing. And I've been on Marcy Shimoff's program for the last couple of years. I think she's amazing. I've got two coaches. I've got business mentor. I'm also dabbling in, I've got an astrology coach. I've got a past lives coach. I've
Love
got my
it.
Reiki going on, and yeah, no, I think I've probably got a bit too much at the minute, but I'm just so passionate about the more I de-layer, the more I will show up as a better person, as a better human being, the more I hope to inspire other people to be the better the versions of themselves. So I've got to kind of keep working on me. And I did work with an amazing guy, shaman, who, and not just that, and that wasn't kind of how he was advertised at all, but just having that depth and insight spiritually that I'd never experienced before was
Yes.
hugely powerful. Hugely powerful, and with a view of unconditional love in everything. It's quite extraordinary to be in that energy space of people. So yes, I've worked with many people over the years, and at every stage of my evolution, the right people have shown up for me, and I absolutely listen to my intuition as to who I should be working with, and in what way. And I know that they will bring something in a way that I hadn't thought would happen. But that's the point. When you go with your heart and your intuition, what just the most incredible synchronicities and things happen as you unpeel.
And very respectable. I mean, if you are going to do this work and support others, you've got to do the work yourself.
Yeah,
It's just part of it.
completely. And actually, I'm doing a spiritual retreat with a lady called Dr. Nicola Amadora, who I came across through one of the other mentors, and she has blown my mind with what she knows as well. She's extraordinary. So yeah, I'm having fun. I'm having so much fun. I mean, I cry a lot, but there we are.
Well, and that's what life should be about, really, right? We should enjoy what we do. Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Oh, absolutely.
what is a quote that you feel embodies the heart leadership?
I'm a huge quote fan, but the one, and I'm slightly hesitant about saying it because it's like probably the most common quote ever, but it's the Marianne Williamson one. It's the
Say
one
it.
about where she says, our deepest fear. I just love it as it's not our darkness, but it's our light that most frightens us. And I feel that is amazing. Who am I to be brilliant and gorgeous? Who are you not to be? And just the essence of that for me, it is about let's be the light that we are inside. Let's be the love that we're here to share, and let's embrace that, because actually when we step into him or her, the truest part of ourselves, we shine so brightly that other people just want to be magnets to us, and want to feel that and be that themselves. And that, I just feel, is epitomizes everything about who I want to be and what I want to see in the world.
I love it. I love every piece of this. Oh, and you're hitting on so many different areas for me in my personal work right now. Okay. So anything you want to share before we go to your favorite snack?
Yeah. I don't know if there is anything I want to share. Just I think I could talk about this forever, actually. And yeah, I'm so sort of just really passionate about this as a route, and feel very blessed that I've been given some insights, tools, and an approach that this is the space that I want to work in and deepen. So I guess watch this space.
I love it. Okay. What's your favorite snack right now?
What is my favourite snack right now? Well, do you know, I love food. I am such a foodie. I really do. And I think it would have to be, if ever I'm starving hungry, which is quite frequently, I'll go and get crisps. And what they called in the chips, they're called in the US, aren't they? We call them crisps.
Potato chips?
Yeah, and there's a flavour in the UK. There's a wild thyme and rosemary flavoured crisp. I
That
love
sounds
the taste.
amazing. That sounds amazing. I'm always hungry too, and I love to eat. But wow.
They're to die for. I just love them to bits. So there we are. But I probably, yeah, that's my go. I mean, I do have a fridge full of things, but that is probably my go-to one. Yeah.
Oh, Sandra, I am so grateful for you today, sharing your knowledge and what you're doing with your leadership, where you're based, and the more of you we could have would be a wonderful world. We really just, I think our world really craves this so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for letting me speak as well and being a part of your be a part of your world. It's been a joy, and it doesn't feel like 5 minutes has passed, let alone however long's gone.
All right. Thank you so much, and you have an awesome day.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks again. Take care.
Thank you for tuning in to Snack Leadership. I hope you felt inspiration, motivation, and felt your mindset spark. Snack Leadership is recorded and produced by myself, Ali Camilletti, and music by Shireen Amini.